I think one of the more first pieces that we're kind of seeing Pedro's leadership stand out. Obviously, there's many different ways, but I mean, how do you think that it is defined for the bullpen? Because this isn't really his realm, right? We think of this as Ethan Katz's realm and Kurt Hassler's realm, but Pedro obviously is managing all 26 men on this roster. So how is he able to, really step his foot into the pitching game and communicate with those players?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Pedro's necessarily doing anything that other managers aren't, but it's definitely something that people don't see, that fans don't see. This is not something that happens during the game necessarily, or something that happens in front of the TV cameras in general. It's something that goes on after the game's over. Maybe someone needs a pep talk in the clubhouse. It happens while guys are just doing work. Maybe he wanders over and says, "Hey man, heard you had a great bullpen. Keep it up. We believe in you," kind of thing. And those votes of confidence from a manager are helpful. They're big to these players. I talked to Kendall Graveman. I talked to Reynaldo Lopez. Both of these guys said that it's made a big difference. Pedro's positivity and his belief in them, his confidence that he is not just saying, "I'm confident in you." He's giving them a reason to be confident in themselves. And again, I don't think that it's something that Tony didn't do or Ricky didn't do or Robin didn't do or anything like that. It's just that here's a firsthand example from these guys telling me that this happened, and I can pass it along to everybody else, and people can go, "Oh, then that's a little different. I'm watching at home, and maybe I'm just judging Pedro based on the way the lineup looks or the way he's managing the pitching staff, the pinch hitter that he put in or didn't put in," kind of thing. Doing the whole armchair managing thing, does he meet what you would have done if you were at the controls? But there's much more to this job than those in-game decisions. And when you can hear examples of them that have really paid off, then that's a big deal. So, I heard Reynaldo Lopez say he came up to me and Pedro came up to me and reminded me that I'm good, that I've been good, because sometimes you forget. And it would have been easy for Reynaldo to forget with the April that he had. His ERA was up over 8, I think, by after the first number of outings for him, as you'll show. He's been pretty fantastic since, and it just took somebody to come along and say, "Remind yourself. I'm going to remind you, but you need to remind yourself that you can do this." He said he's changed his mindset when he's on the mound. And this is a guy who's been doing this for a while in Reynaldo. This is not some kid fresh up from the minors. Kendall comes along and says any player needs to be reminded of this from time to time. And I think this is the approach that Pedro has, like you said, with all 26 guys, plus the guys that come in and out via roster moves and stuff like that. Just because you don't see it on the TV camera, on the broadcast during the game, doesn't mean that these very important things that is part of a manager's job description are happening. If you were mad about the Luis Robert Jr., Pedro Grifol communication snafu and thought that it flew in the face of everything that Pedro was saying about communication when he was introduced, this is communication, and this is an example of it going very right.